Peace. This is your girl, Rashonda LeGrand, aka the Interim Mother, aka Rashonda Ellison, the artist, and I'm coming before y'all on tonight before I lay my sleepy head down, just to give a little bit of insert about the book that I had started reading called "The Woman Who Runs with the Wolves," and it's really women who run with the wolves, and it's talking about the wild women aspects of how we deal with the world that we live in today. And I'm associating this book that I'm reading to the building of our midwifery services and doula services here in Georgia and abroad. And this book is really opening me up and helping me to understand more and more about, what is lost within the feminine principle as it's relating to childbirth. And a lot of it is our wild and natural instincts. You have women that are all over the world that are indigenous and they're still having babies in their natural form, and there's no medication, no doctors, there's just the village midwives and things of that nature, and they're thriving, and that's one of the things that we really need to get back to here in the States. And not to say that there are not, infant mortality rates and things like that in underdeveloped countries, but they're doing their parts, and at least they're attempting, to do what they need to do as far as giving birth to their children. And I feel it is very important that we also learn how to get our ideas back on the universal aspects of childbirth, because it's deeper than learning all the new latest breathing techniques. Techniques of breathing are not the half of it. It's bigger than learning, about the feelings and the pride and postpartum issues and uterine contractility and all the different things and emotions that we had when it comes down to the fundamental processes of childbirth. It's a new baby coming, and there's a thing that we evoke when we start to understand and get away from the influences of the social conditions as it's related to childbirth. And one of the biggest things that I'm really starting to understand about this, the more I'm studying, is that we learn from mistakes. We learn from people, from observation, from information, and we learn from these things because they're tangible. But what if we took back tangibility? What if we didn't have textbooks? What if all we had was a stick in the mud? Then what would we do? What would we have? How would we survive? You know, we would survive based upon of our instincts. We would get in tune. We would dig deeper. We would go into ourselves and we would find a way. You know, and what I'm starting to really take on to me is that the same pleasure and the same love, that was conceived, in the midst of creating that child. And, some children are created out of love, others are made out of lust. You have to be able to balance that thing out. And that is where I think that we really have to get to channeling into our energies and understanding what we're looking at when we're looking at childbirth, when we're looking at sexuality, when we're looking at our ideas and things of influence, and I'm not here to issue any type of citations or anything like that, in regards to this video. But what I am here to issue out is an idea, a concept that I've lived by for the past 6 years. My first child was born at home with a beautiful midwife, and she trained us up. She taught us what we need to do. She laced our boots up. And our second son, I was still kind of a little rigid, but I said it after our first son. I was like, what, we can do this on our own. We don't need no midwife to come. But I was still searching. I was still looking because I still wanted to have somebody to hold my hand through the process of what I know I was innately created to do. Because if the baby came to me, he was going to come through me, you know, and he was going to do it all on his own because he chose to do what he did. He fought the good fight through the sperm intelligence and he made his way all the way up, you know. So what I am um, saying to you is not to tell you to not have a midwife, not to have a doula or an assistant, but I want you to understand that deep down, way down, deep inside your soul, there is a principle, a birthing principle that gives you the ability to open yourself up and to be free and to give birth without medication, without a doctor, without any type of assistance. Maybe a midwife should be more for a witness, you know, and an informative, you know, that you're able to give birth and be coached into realizing your own empowerment. And after the birth of our second son, when our midwife didn't show up, until after he was born, no fault to her. It allowed me to see that intuitively I willed and I summoned what I wanted. I wanted that empowerment for myself, and with this third son that we just had last year, we did it. We did it, my husband and I, all by ourselves, with our other two children, running amok, being funny and coming back and checking on me and so forth and so forth. And there's nothing else that I can say besides that empowerment is what has me here today. That same empowerment has me charged up full of passion for the mothers that are losing their lives because they don't have proper prenatal care, because they don't have somebody in their ear telling them to get off the Coca-Cola, because they don't have nobody in their ear telling them to stop eating all the processed foods, because they don't have anybody in their ears telling them to check their blood pressure, and not just going and getting a cuff put on, but channeling in, talking to their bodies and saying, what do I need? What do you need, baby? What foods do I need to have so that my baby can be full and well and ready to become a part of society today? What do I need to be emotionally sound? Nobody tunes in and asks, what extra self? How can I alleviate, the stress that I have of going to work every single day and still having to maintain my bills and the anxieties of me bringing this child into the world and then I don't know what else I'm going to do, how my life is going to change. You don't have to worry about that. The universe has created all that for us. And that's what we're here to do. Call myself the Intune Mother because I tune in. I tune in with music. I tune in with love making with my mate. I tune in with childbirthing with my children. I tune into the cries of the woes in the morning of the sisters and the brothers. I tune in, and I just want more people to tune in to themselves because really that's what it's about. If you tune into you, you can hear everybody else. You can hear all that you need to be, all your purpose, all your service, all those things that you need to be, and they will bring you abundance. And it's that abundance of the wild woman that I am attaching myself to right now. And I just ask that you just run with me. Run with me. www.getempower3000.com www.getempower3000.webs.com. Check us out. It'll be down in the about description portion of this video, so you can click on it, go and read about us, spread the word, tell everybody that you know, love on us. It's all good. We're right here. Peace.